I'm Andrea with the Reliable Beauty Reviews, and today we're going to talk about my favorite subject, chocolate. Specifically, the benefits of how a certain chocolate is great for your health and beauty, why I think European chocolate tastes better than American, and a personal chocolate story about me that most people don't know about. Let's start with the big debate, American versus European chocolate. European chocolate is smoother, richer, and far less sweet. That's because it uses higher quality cocoa beans, more cocoa butter, and fewer fillers. It simply lets the cocoa shine. American chocolate, on the other hand, often contains more sugar, stabilizers, and sometimes added acids, which is why it can have that slightly tangy aftertaste. In my opinion, it's just not the same level of quality. Now let's talk dark chocolate versus milk chocolate. Dark chocolate, especially 70% cocoa or higher, contains more cocoa solids, which means more flavanols. And flavanols are all the rage right now. What are they? They are powerful antioxidants that support heart health, improve circulation, reduce inflammation, and would you believe there's scientific evidence they may improve skin hydration and elasticity over time. And milk chocolate, it still has some antioxidants, but far less, because milk and sugar dilute the cocoa, so while it's delicious, it doesn't deliver the same benefits as dark chocolate does. In white chocolate, well, we'll get to that in a second. Now, quality chocolate should melt smoothly in the mouth and never feel waxy. This smooth texture comes from proper tempering, which is a controlled heating and cooling process that produces chocolate with a glossy finish, a clean snap, and a refined mouthfeel. During tempering, the chocolate is agitated to encourage a small amount of cocoa butter to crystallize, stabilizing the final structure. And most people don't know that chocolate should always be eaten at room temperature. Cold chocolate hides flavor, and heat ruins its texture. Now, have you ever seen a white dusty film on chocolate? I know I have, and that look is called sugar bloom. It doesn't mean that chocolate went bad. Sugar bloom happens when moisture, such as condensation or humidity, causes the sugar to rise to the surface. It looks unappealing, but it's completely safe, just not as smooth in taste. And fat bloom occurs when the cocoa butter separates from the chocolate and rises to the surface. This separation can be caused by temperature fluctuations during storage. And humidity can also contribute to fat bloom by affecting the chocolate's texture. So remember to store chocolate in a cool, dry place. And here's the quick truth bomb about white chocolate. It isn't really chocolate. Why? Because it contains cocoa butter, sugar, and milk, but not cocoa solids, which means no flavanols and no antioxidant benefits. Delicious? Sure. Chocolate? Debatable. So here's why dark chocolate is a beauty food. The flavanols improve skin blood flow, hydration, and thickness. Antioxidants help reduce collagen breakdown and slow wrinkle formation. Iron supports hair health. Magnesium helps calm the nervous system and reduce stress. Copper and zinc support collagen and keratin production. Now, that doesn't mean you should sit down and eat a ton of chocolate. Consuming 1 to 2 small squares a day is perfect. Just don't eat it right before you go to bed if you're caffeine sensitive. And here's how to choose dark chocolate. Look for 70 to 85% cocoa. Look for a short ingredient list. And skip overly sweet, high-processed bars. Overall, dark chocolate really is better for your health and beauty, and European chocolate wins on ingredients, texture, and flavor every time. And now for my personal chocolate story. I'll give you the short version. In 1985, during my chocolate obsession phase, a friend at work happened to give me a truffle recipe. And it was very unique because it was a cake truffle, not a traditional candy truffle. Well, the first time I made that recipe for friends and family, it was a hit. And I made it over and over again for years. I could practically do this recipe in my sleep. Then I started selling my truffles to friends, then to friends of friends, and suddenly I had a small business. But as time went on, without the money to scale, I decided to pitch the recipe to companies I thought might want it. When that didn't work out, I even entered the recipe in a Bravo Network chocolate dessert contest in 2010, knowing the recipe would belong to them once it was submitted. And I really didn't care because I was confident I could win the contest. Well, I never heard from Bravo, but shortly after the contest, cake pops exploded everywhere. first in commercial bakeries to cake pop kits, including the cake pops you see at Starbucks today. So that's my story. And to be honest, I recently tried a chocolate cake pop from Starbucks the other day. It was the very first time I had ever tried one, and I thought it was very good. I gave it an 8 out of 10. Of course, I think my recipe is so much better. Thank you for watching. I'm Andrea with Reliable Beauty Reviews, and I'll see you next time.